Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into a crucial aspect of safe navigation, mastering electronic navigational charts, or ENCs. Specifically, we're going to focus on step 1 of our navigation planning process, using depth soundings and contours to understand the seabed. This is the absolute foundation for keeping your vessel safe, so let's get right into it. When you first look at an ENC, it can seem like a jumble of numbers and lines. But these are your best friends out on the water. The numbers are called depth soundings. Each number represents a specific depth measurement at that exact spot. Think of them as individual survey points telling you how much water is under your keel. The lines you see are depth contours. These lines connect points of equal depth, much like contour lines on a topographic map show equal elevation on land. Together, soundings and contours paint a detailed three-dimensional picture of the underwater landscape. So, how do we use this information practically? The first thing we need to do is establish our safety contour. Your chart plotter or ECDIS software allows you to set a safety contour based on your vessel S-draft and your desired underkeel clearance. For example, if your boat has a draft of 2 meters and you want at least 1 meter of clearance, you'd set your safety contour to 3 meters. The system will then highlight this specific contour line, creating a clear visual boundary between safe and potentially unsafe waters. Anything inside this line is shallower than your set limit, and anything outside is deeper. Once your safety contour is set, your primary task is to scan the chart for any potential dangers, especially those lurking in areas you might otherwise consider safe. You need to look for what we call shallow patches. These are isolated depth soundings that are shallower than the surrounding area and, most critically, shallower than your safety contour. Imagine you're in an area that's generally marked as 5 meters deep, well outside your 3-meter safety contour. If you suddenly spot a sounding of 2.5 meters within that 5-meter zone, that's a major hazard. It's an underwater hill or rock that could ruin your day. Your eyes must be trained to actively hunt for these anomalies. Don't just rely on the color shading of the chart. You have to scrutinize the individual sounding numbers. The process is like being a detective. You're looking for clues that indicate danger. Start by tracing your intended route. As you move along your planned track, constantly scan ahead and to either side. Pay close attention to areas just outside your safety contour. Is there a sounding of 3.1 meters right next to your 3-meter line? That's cutting it a bit close, isn't it? It might be legally safe, but it doesn't leave much room for error from tide changes, waves, or slight navigational inaccuracies. A good mariner always builds in a buffer. The goal isn't just to avoid grounding, but to navigate with confidence and peace of mind. Now, let's talk about larger underwater features. Beyond isolated shallow patches, you need to be on the lookout for banks, reefs, and sandbars. These are often represented by a cluster of shallow soundings or a series of tightly packed contour lines. A bank is a large, elevated area of the seabed. It might be perfectly safe to cross if it's deep enough, but its edges could rise steeply. Reefs, often made of rock or coral, are typically much more dangerous and should be given a very wide berth. Sandbars are particularly tricky because they can shift over time, especially in areas with strong currents or after storms. This is where the date of the chart survey, found in the chart's metadata, becomes important. An older survey in a sandy, dynamic area should be treated with extra caution. When you identify a bank or reef, don't just navigate around its visible edge on the chart. Look at the contour lines leading up to it. Are they spaced far apart, indicating a gentle slope? Or are they packed tightly together, indicating a steep, almost cliff-like rise from the seabed? A steep rise is often more dangerous as it gives you less time to react if you stray off course. Also, consider the nature of the seabed, which is often abbreviated on the chart. R for rock, S for sand, M for mud. Running aground on mud is an inconvenience. Hitting rock can be a catastrophe. All these details, the soundings, the contours, the seabed type work together to give you a complete picture. Let's put this into a practical scenario. You're planning a trip through a channel. You've set your safety contour. As you examine the chart, you notice a large, wide bank to the starboard side of the channel. The soundings on the bank are all shallower than your safety contour, so you know to stay clear, but then you spot something else. Inside the safe part of the channel, there's a single sounding that is just barely deeper than your safety contour. This is a red flag. While technically navigable, it represents the shallowest point in the channel. You should mark this as a waypoint or a point of concern, ensuring you pass it with maximum attention. Maybe you plan to pass it at high tide to give yourself extra clearance. This is the kind of detailed, proactive thinking that separates great navigators from average ones. Furthermore, remember that ENCs are dynamic. You can often toggle different layers of information on and off. To reduce clutter, you might be tempted to turn off depth soundings and just rely on the safety contour and color shading. Please don't do this. The individual soundings provide the highest level of detail. Always keep them visible, especially when you are in confined waters or areas you've never visited before. It's better to have a slightly cluttered screen with more information than a clean screen that hides a critical danger. Think of the soundings as the raw data and the contours and shading as a helpful summary. You always want to be able to check the raw data yourself. So, to recap step 1, first, set your safety contour accurately based on your vessel's draft and your desired safety margin. Second, meticulously scan your entire route for any isolated depth soundings that are shallower than your safety contour, paying special attention to those within supposedly safe zones. Third, identify larger features like banks, reefs, and sandbars. Analyze their shape, steepness, and composition to understand the risk they pose. And finally, always keep the detailed depth soundings visible on your display. Don't just rely on the simplified visual aids. Mastering this first step of interpreting depth soundings and contours is non-negotiable for safety at sea. It forms the basis of every decision you'll make later in the planning process. By training your eyes to spot these underwater dangers, you transform your electronic chart from a simple map into a powerful tool for risk management. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this detailed look into depth soundings and contours has been helpful. Practice this on your own charts and you'll become a safer, more confident navigator. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more navigation tips and tutorials. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video, where we'll be covering Step 2. Until then, fair winds and safe passages.